Hi everybody, my name is Kristen and we are going to do a power vinyasa flow. First time recording online, so bear with me. Always remember that everything that I say or do during class is going to be optional. Feel free to always do what's right for your body. It's always super important to me that you guys always honor how you feel and where you are today in your practice. So if I cue something that doesn't feel quite right or something you don't want to try, please skip it. And hopefully this turns out okay and everything goes well. So to get started today, we're actually going to come into child's pose. So you can have your knees together and bring those hips back, or you can bring those knees as wide as your mat and bring the hips back. And then let's just bring the forehead to the mat here and relaxing those elbows down, forehead comes down, and let's just start with our breath. Taking a few moments here to center into our practice, clearing our mind, and really starting to connect with our breath. Remember, throughout practice, it's important for you to connect with your breath. You do not necessarily have to watch me the entire time. I really want you focusing on what feels right for your body and what you need to do today. So, as we're in child's pose, let's all take a big inhale and then exhale everything out the mouth. Let's do this 2 more times. And as we settle in and we relax into our practice, working on connecting with our breath, maybe we wish to set an intention for today's class, or maybe that intention is to just escape for a moment, having an hour to ourselves, being on our mat, and reconnecting with ourselves. Take a few more breaths here. And then on that next inhale, let's walk those hands out as far as they will go, really stretching that torso out of those hips. And then on the exhale, let's walk those hands over to the right. Left hand will place on top of right, making sure we keep those shoulders square, and we're making sure that those hips stay down by those heels. We're not letting them pop up. And then on the inhale, let's come back through center and exhale over to the left. Right hand will place on top of left, working to keep that right hip down towards that heel as we stretch and open up that side body. On that inhale, let's come back to center. Stretching those hands out for a moment. And then on that next exhale, let's all roll up, meeting in our tabletop pose. Remembering in tabletop, we're still very active in this pose. We don't want to sink into our shoulders, so we're actively pressing that ground away. Hands are sectioning to our mat, and our hips are directly underneath our knees, and wrists are directly underneath those shoulders. And we're gonna head to some cat-cows. So on the inhale, we're gonna drop the belly, lift the chin and chest. And then on the exhale, we're gonna push that ground away, rounding that spine, bringing that chin into the chest. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin and chest. And then exhale, round that spine for cat pose, pushing that ground away. Let's take a few more of these to our own breath, working to warm up that spine. Remembering you can take any movement here that you need to for your warm-up. So if you wish to make C or S shapes with the spine, or maybe roll back and forth on the wrists, you are welcome to. Doing what feels right for your body. Let's take 2 more and then we'll meet in a static table pose on our mats. All right, Headed to puppy pose just to kind of get into those shoulders a little bit before we start our vinyasa. So we're going to leave our hips directly underneath over those knees as we walk those hands out. You can bring your forehead to the mat, or if you're feeling super open today, you can bring your chin to the mat. Breathing here, showing those shoulders some love. Working to maintain that breath throughout the entire practice. On that next inhale, we're going to walk those hands back, meeting in our table. Taking a moment here to check in with our hands. We're going to tuck those toes and we're going to actually hover those knees above the mat about 1 inch up. Taking a second here to connect our breath. Activating those quads, activating that core. We're actively pushing that mat away so the shoulder blades are separating behind us. One more big breath here. And then on that next exhale, let's hinge those hips back, meeting in our first down dog. Taking a moment here to walk out that down dog. Remembering it's not about getting our heels to the mat, it's about getting those hips up high in the sky. So bending those knees as much as you need to get those hips up. Shoulder blades come back and down, and we're really suctioning our hands to the mat. Index fingers are parallel with the sides of the mat. We're pressing into all the pads of the knuckles so we can take the pressure off of those wrists. And then continuing with our warm-up, on the inhale, we're going to roll forward to plank. Holding plank here for a moment. Remembering at any time that I cue plank during class, you guys can drop your knees and untuck the toes, or you can stay in full expression, or only drop one knee to the mat, whatever feels good for you. Taking one more breath here on the inhale, and then on that exhale, we're going to use that core to hinge us back to our down dog. Taking a breath here, and then on that next inhale, let's hinge forward plank. And then on that exhale, using that core to hinge us back to down dog. Adding on this next inhale, we're going to come forward to plank. And feel free to drop your knees whenever you need to, but on that inhale, we're going to inhale, tip forward, exhale, chaturanga down and hold. Holding our four-limb staff pose for a moment. Inhale, we're going to press up to plank, and then exhale, down dog. Let's do one more just like that. On the inhale, we roll forward to plank. Taking an exhale there. On that inhale, we'll hinge forward. Chaturanga down, holding here. Big breath. On that next inhale, lift up to plank, and then exhale, down dog. Taking a moment here to walk out our dog. And then on that next inhale, let's bend those knees, walk, step, or jump to the top of our mat. Treating this here like a rag doll for a moment, letting the head and neck hang. Maybe you reach for opposite elbows as you sway left and right in your practice. Remembering if the hamstrings are tight or you're feeling any pull in that lower back, to bend those knees as much as you need to. Letting everything go here, let gravity do all the work. Releasing those hands, and then on that inhale, we're going to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Meeting in Tadasana, our mountain pose. Starting with our sun salutations today, we will be doing extra planks and chaturangas during our sun salutations. So if anytime you want to skip them, you are welcome to. Make sure you make the vinyasa your own and do what only feels right for you. So on that inhale, we're going to reach those arms up to the sky. And then on that exhale, we're going to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, straightening that spine, energy shooting out of the crown of that head. Exhale, plant those palms, step back to plank. On the inhale, we tip forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. On that exhale, we're going to hinge right back down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. We're going to take 3 breaths here in down dog. And then on that next inhale, we're going to bend those knees, walk, step, or jump to the top of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, rise, arms are gonna reach up. And then on that exhale, we're gonna hinge right back down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant those palms, step back to your version of plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, right back down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. 3 breaths there. That is the vinyasa, or the flow, that I will be cueing for the power class. Please feel free to make it your own. Feel free to skip vinyasas whenever you need to. I know myself, I'll probably be skipping a few because I have to talk and do yoga during the video, but please do what feels right for you. On that inhale, we're gonna bend those knees, walk, step, or jump to the top of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, rise, arms reach up. And exhale, hands heart center. 1 more just like that. Inhale, those arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant those palms, step back to plank. Take your vinyasa, so we chaturanga down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, right back down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Taking a breath there. And then on that next inhale, bend those knees, walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, rise, arms will reach up. And then on that exhale, big toes are gonna come together and we're gonna meet right down in our chair pose. Remembering to take a moment in chair to check with our alignment. We wanna be able to see all 10 of our toes. Tailbone needs to be pointed towards the ground, so tucking that tailbone down. Hands can be overhead or a prayer at heart center, whatever feels right for you. And we're breathing here. Maybe you lift all 10 toes up to get that weight in the heels and then gently let those toes fall back down. Taking a big breath in. On that exhale, maybe you sink a little bit lower. And then on that next exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant those palms, go through your vinyasa. Chaturanga down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, right back down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Setting up for our warrior 1. On that inhale, we're gonna reach that right leg up to the sky. And then on the exhale, bring it through between those hands. Back foot drops at a 45, and on the inhale, we rise. Shoulders are out of the ears, working to get those hips square to the front of the mat. Breathing here, shooting for that 90-degree lunge in that front leg. Actively pressing into the outer edge of that left foot. Big inhale here. And then on that exhale, hands are gonna come down to frame that foot. We step this right foot back with control. Maybe it stays lifted as you chaturanga down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, back down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Headed to the other side, we inhale that left leg up to the sky. And on the exhale, we bring it through between those hands. Dropping that back foot. And as we inhale, we rise, rooting into the back of that right foot, the outer edge of the right foot, and shooting for 90 degrees in that left lunge. Breathing here, actively reaching the torso out of those hips, belly buttons are to spine. And then on that exhale, hand comes down to frame that foot. We step that left foot back with control as we go through our vinyasa. On that next inhale, we'll bend those knees, walk, step, or jump to the top of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bringing those big toes back together, we rise back to our chair pose. Breathing here, checking our alignment. Headed to chair twist, hands are gonna come to prayer. And on the exhale, we're gonna take that left elbow and hook it to the outside of that right knee. Working to get those hands to the center of our chest. Making sure that that left knee doesn't pop forward. And if you want more here, you can open up those hands. One more big breath here. On the inhale, we'll come back to center. Pausing here, and then on that next exhale, right elbow to the outside of left knee. making sure those bottoms don't come up, keeping them low to the ground, and if we want more here, we can open up those hands. On that next inhale, headed back to center, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant those palms, step back to plank, go through your vinyasa. Remembering you can always skip those extra planks and chaturangas if you wish to. Doing what feels right for your body today. On that next inhale, we'll reach that right leg up to the sky, and on the exhale, knee to nose. Inhale back. Exhale, right knee, right tricep. Inhale back. Exhale, right knee, left tricep. Inhale back. And then on that next exhale, bringing that right foot through between those hands, dropping that back foot out of 45. And on the inhale, we rise, meeting back in our warrior one. Taking a big breath here, checking our alignment, making sure the knee doesn't go over that ankle. And let's exhale those hands down behind our back. Hands can rest on our back, or we interlace, roll the shoulder blades back and down. And on the exhale, humble warrior, bringing that right shoulder to the inside of that right knee. Keeping those hands on the small of your back if your shoulders are tight, but if you're open, pulling that fist towards the front of your mat. On that next inhale, we rise with strength back to warrior one. On the exhale, let's bring those hands down to a T. Flip those palms towards the sky. And on the exhale, we're gonna pull those hands back like those thumbs wanna touch. Lifting that chest towards the sky, maintaining that front lunge. And then on that inhale, rise back to warrior one. On that exhale, bring that hand down to frame that foot. Taking a moment here to pause. Meeting in a runner's lunge. We're gonna walk that right foot out to the edge of our mat. Remembering you're headed to a lizard pose, so you can keep the pose active by staying on the balls of that left foot, or you can drop that knee, untuck the toe, whatever feels good for you today. And then staying to your palms, or coming down to your forearms, or even a block if we're somewhere in between. Breathing here for a moment, working to get into those hips. If you kept the pose active, you can rock back and forth on those toes, working to get a little bit more into the hips. And then on that next inhale, we'll all meet up on our palms. If you kept it active, we'll drop that knee to the mat, untuck the toes. Taking our right hand, we're gonna press in to that right thigh, twisting. Staying here, or bending that left leg, reaching back with that right hand for that left foot, and then pulling that leg closer to our glutes, or maybe even kicking into that hand to get more into the shoulders, whatever feels good for you. If you took the bind, you'll gently release the foot and that right hand back to the mat, heel toeing that right foot back to center. And then on the exhale, we're gonna push back to our half split. Toes come towards our nose as we come on to the heel of that right foot. We're pulling that right hip back, left hip forward. Hands can be to the mat or to the block. Remembering we're working on keeping our back as straight as we can, because a straighter back will help us get deeper into the stretch. If you want, you can walk your hands forward more, getting deeper into the stretch. And if you wish to try for full split, you are welcome to. You can slowly start inching this foot back and walking that other foot forward if that feels okay for you. On that next inhale, we're gonna bend that right knee. Hands are gonna come to frame that foot. Rooting that left hand into the mat. We reach that right arm to the sky for the twist. Tucking those left toes, we lift that knee up off the mat. Breathing there. Really rooting into that left hand. If needed, we can drop the knee to the mat, but if you feel rooted and you want to try for balance today, we're going to take that right foot back, step it back, meeting in our Vashisthasana half plank. Stack, stagger, drop a knee, or lift a leg. You're here for 3 breaths. Remembering how strong you are. On that next exhale, we're gonna bring that right forearm down to our mat, flipping to the other side, stacking those feet once again, reaching that left arm to the sky for a forearm plank on the other side. On that next exhale, we're gonna bring that left forearm down. So we're on a forearm plank on our mat, taking a moment here. In multiple options, you can drop your knees to the mat and come up to table and then hinge back to down dog, or you can stay in your plank, bring that right palm to the mat and lift up to your plank pose and then hinge back down dog. Taking a breath here in down dog. And then on that next inhale, reaching that left leg up to the sky. And then on the exhale, bringing it through between those hands, meeting in our warrior one on this side. Taking a moment here to find the pose. Headed to our humble warrior, hands will come down behind our back, interlacing if able. We roll the shoulder blades back and down, and then on the exhale, left shoulder to the inside of that left knee. Keeping those hands towards the lower back if our shoulders are tight, or reaching that fist towards the front of the mat if that feels okay. On that next inhale, we rise with strength back to warrior one. Exhale those hands down to a T. Flip those palms to the sky, and on that exhale, pulling those thumbs back like they want to touch. Opening that chest towards the sky. Gaze can be at the ceiling if that's okay on the neck. Inhaling those arms back up, warrior one. And exhaling those hands down to frame that foot. Meeting in a runner's lunge, we'll heel toe that left foot out to the edge of our mat. Keeping it active by staying on the balls of that right foot, or dropping the knee and untucking the toes, whatever feels good for you in your lizard lunge, and then staying to our palms or coming down to our forearms. Really getting into those hips. If you kept it active, you're welcome to rock back and forth on those right toes. On that next inhale, we'll all meet back on our palms. And if you kept it active, we're gonna drop that knee and untuck the toes on our mat. Taking that left hand, we're gonna gently press into that left hip twisting. And if we feel okay here and we want more, we bend that right knee, reach back with that left hand to grab that foot. Breathing there, pulling that knee closer to the glute, or even kicking into that hand to get into the shoulder. If you took the bind, we'll gently let that foot come back to the mat, bringing that left hand down to our mat, heel toeing that left foot in, and then pulling those hips back for our half split. Left hip comes back as right hip comes forward, toes are pointed towards our nose, hands can be to the mat or a block, wherever that feels good today. On that next inhale, we're gonna bend that knee. Hands are gonna frame that foot, rooting that right hand into the mat. We reach that left arm towards the sky. Tucking those right toes, we lift that right knee up off the mat. Staying here, taking a moment to really root into that right hand, and we step that left foot back, meeting in our Vasisthasana side plank. Stack, stagger, lift a leg, or drop one knee, whatever feels good for you today. Maintaining that breath for 3 breaths. And then on that next exhale, that left forearm is going to come down to our mat as we roll to a side plank facing the other direction, reaching that right arm towards the sky. On that next exhale, right forearm comes down to the mat. You're in a forearm plank on your mat, headed to some hip dips. So hands can be together or separate, and we're just gonna do a few. So on the exhale, that right hip's gonna tip to the side. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. 2 more each side. Inhale, center. Exhale to the side. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Taking a big inhale here, we're gonna come back onto our palms, and then on that exhale, take our vinyasa. Taking a breath here in down dog, and then taking a moment to bring those knees to the mat. Knees can go wide as hips come back, resting in our child's pose. Taking a moment to towel off or grab water. Remembering we can stay in our child's pose for as long as it suits us, reconnecting with our breath, reconnecting with our intention, helping us find whatever we need today. And then when we're ready, coming back up to all fours, meeting in a tabletop pose, checking in with our hands, and then on that exhale, hinging back, down dog. Taking a moment to walk out our dog here. And then on that next inhale, bending those knees, we walk, step or jump to the top of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift, straightening the spine. Exhale, fold, and then inhale, rise, arms reach up. We exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale those arms up. We're gonna interlace all of our fingers except for our index and our thumb, and then on the exhale, we're gonna lean towards the right. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right, and adding on, we're gonna step that right foot out. Staying here, or rooting into that left leg, we reach that right leg up off the mat. Inhaling back to center, exhaling to the left. Staying here, stepping that left foot out, or rooting into that right foot, we reach that left leg up off the mat. Inhaling back center, exhaling those arms to cactus, shoulder blades come together. Inhale those arms up, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, planting our palms, stepping back to plank and going through our vinyasa. So chaturanga down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, right back down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. On that next inhale, reaching that right leg up to the sky. And on the exhale, knee to nose. Inhale back. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over wrists. Inhale back. One more just like that, and we'll hold. Holding here, breathing, bringing some strength. On that next exhale, hinging back. And then on that next exhale, bringing those hands through, between those hands, meeting up in our high crescent as we rise. Standing on the ball of that left foot, shooting for 90 degrees in that front lunge. Shoulders are back and down. Headed to some knee dips. So if balance is an issue, it's okay to widen the stance a little bit. Headed to 5 knee dips. So on the exhale, we're gonna bring those arms to cactus and dip that left knee down and rise up. 4 more just like that. You got this, super strong. Last one. And then on that next exhale, opening up to our warrior 2. Taking a moment to find our lunge, front heels in line with that back arch, bouncing into the pose for a moment. Finding the lunge we want to commit to, we flip that front palm and we exhale, peaceful warrior. Inhale back center, Exhale, side angle, so forearm to thigh, hand to mat, or the bind. Making sure that our chest is open towards the sky. Breathing here. Inhale, back up, warrior two. Exhale, peaceful warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Everybody bringing that hand to mat or forearm to thigh. Taking this left hand, reaching it forward, really elongating that left side body. Working to keep that chest open. On that inhale, we rise up, warrior two. Straightening that front leg. Exhale, reverse that triangle, reverse triangle pose. Inhale, back, warrior two. Headed to our half moon pose, so a block might be handy and bringing the ground closer to you during the pose. Finding your warrior two, taking a big inhale there. We hop up off of that left foot, bringing that right hand to the block or the mat, stacking those hips, reaching that left arm toward the sky, so we're stacking the hips and shoulders. Very active lifted leg. Breathing here. And if you want to get deeper in this pose, you can bend that left leg, reach back with that left hand, and pull that left hip open, really getting in to the hip there. On that next inhale, we'll release back to our half moon. And on the exhale, try to meet in our warrior two gently. Taking a moment here. On that next exhale, we'll straighten the leg. Toes are gonna come pointed towards, are gonna point towards the right side of your mat. And then on that exhale, we're just gonna forward fold, letting everything go. So you're gonna wide-legged forward fold on your mat. Maybe you widen your stance a little bit. Letting everything go here. Let's plant those hands right in front of our face on our mat or on the ground, and let's just work on straightening our spine. So we're actively pressing into the outer edges of those feet, and on the inhale we lift halfway up just like we do in our vinyasa, and we exhale back down. One more inhale, halfway lift. Exhale back down. On that next inhale, bringing those hands to our hips, heels come in, toes come out, we head to our goddess pose. Making sure those tailbones are pointed towards the mat, we sink down. If we're leaning forward, make sure we come out of those knees a little bit. Hands can be at prayer or wide cactus, whatever feels good for you. Breathing here. Taking those hands, let's bring those hands behind our head, interlacing those hands, and we're just gonna kind of do some oblique work today. So on the exhale, we're gonna bring a right elbow to the right calf, inhale up. Exhale, left quad, inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Remembering it's okay if that elbow does not reach that leg. We're still working the muscles even with the littlest of movements. Let's do one more each side. Releasing those hands, holding that goddess pose. On the inhale, we're gonna lift those heels, exhale down. Two more just like that, inhale, lift, exhale down. Inhale, lift, exhale down. On the inhale, straighten those legs. Toes will come back to face the side of your mat. Interlacing those hands behind us. On the exhale, we'll forward fold. Hands can stay towards the small of the back or reach towards the front of the room. Releasing those hands if you took that bind. One big inhale there, and we're gonna walk those hands to frame that right foot. We're gonna step that right foot back with control to plank. Go through our vinyasa or skip it by meeting in down dog. I will skip it because doing power yoga and talking and breathing at the same time is hard. Taking a moment to find our breath. And then on that next inhale, once we're in our down dog, you're gonna reach that left leg up to the sky. And then on that exhale, knee to nose. Inhale back. Exhale, knee to nose, making sure those shoulders are over the wrists. Inhale back. Last one, let's hold here, keeping that knee up. Taking a big breath there, and then exhale back. And then on that next exhale, bringing that foot through between those hands, rising up to our high crescent on this side. Taking a moment to find the pose, remembering it's okay to widen that stance if you need to for balance. And we head to our crescent dip. So on the exhale, those arms come to cactus, right knee taps the floor, we inhale up. 4 more just like that. Remembering how strong we are. Remembering if we have any knee injuries that we're honoring that and skipping the dips. Taking a big breath there. We exhale, opening up to our warrior 2. Taking a moment to find the pose. Front heels in line with back arch. Making sure those hips are directly over that torso. Make sure the torso is directly over those hips. Maybe we bounce into that left hip a little bit. And then once we find a lunge we commit to, we flip that front palm and we exhale, peaceful warrior. Hand to thigh or around the small of the back. Inhale forward to warrior 2. Exhale, side angle, forearm to thigh, hand to mat or the bind. Keeping those hearts lifted towards the sky. Inhale back, warrior 2. Exhale, peaceful warrior. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, extended side angle, so forearm to thigh or hand to the mat. We're gonna take this right hand, we're gonna reach it towards the front of our mat, keeping those hearts towards the sky. Tricep by the ear, elongating that right side body. On that inhale, we come back, warrior 2, straightening that front leg for a moment. Flipping that front left palm, we reach back for a reverse triangle. Inhale, center, headed to half moon. So taking a moment here to re-find our warrior 2, remembering that the block is always super helpful. We take a big inhale and we hop up off of that back foot, bringing that hand to the mat or a block as we stack the right hip on top of left, right shoulder on top of left. Super active lifted leg. Breathing there. If we want more out of this pose, we bend that right leg, reach back with that right hand. Reaching for that right foot, we pull that right foot closer to our glute as we open up that hip. So a deep hip stretch. It's also a lot of work on our core, keeping our balance with our belly buttons to spine. If we took the bind, we're going to gently release. And then on that next exhale, gently landing back in our warrior 2. On that inhale, we're going to straighten those legs, and we're going to bring our toes to face the right side of our mat. I'm going to flip around so you guys don't have to look at my backside. But we're in a wide-legged stance on our mat, headed back to a wide-legged forward fold. On the exhale, we're just going to let everything go. Coming down. Hands can come down the sides of your leg here, reaching for those ankles. If you want, you can pull your body closer, or you can let those hands be free. Headed to a twist here. Left hand will plant in front of the face, and then on that inhale, right arm towards the sky, only twisting from that torso, and we're not sinking into that shoulder, super active in that left arm. On that exhale, we switch. Right hand will replace left hand will reach up. On that next exhale, we come down. Exhale, folding a little bit deeper. Heels will come in, hands will come to hips as we rise, headed back to our goddess pose, finding a moment, making sure that torso is pointed towards the mat, we sink down. Hands can be a prayer or a wide cactus, wherever it feels good for you today. We won't do the oblique work again, but let's at least build some strength in those legs. So you can either lift one heel at a time, alternating side to side, or inhale, lift, Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. 2 more just like that. And then holding our goddess pose, you are welcome to hold it on your balls of your feet, or you can keep those heels down here for 5 breaths. And then on that next exhale, straightening those legs, toes will come back to face the side of your mat as you exhale, forward fold. Taking those hands, we're gonna walk to frame that left foot. I'm opposite of you guys right now because I changed my direction. We're gonna step that left foot back with control and then go through our vinyasa or skip it, meeting in down dog. Please honor what's right for you and your body today. From down dog, we're gonna hinge forward to plank. Holding our plank pose here for a moment. And then on that exhale, we're gonna drop those knees, meeting in our tabletop. All right, we're actually gonna do a sunbird pose today. So let's take those right toes, tuck them behind us. Taking a breath there. On the inhale, we activate that core, we lift that right leg. Staying here or lifting that left arm towards the front of the mat. Staying here, breathing. And then we're gonna bend that right knee, reach back with that left hand for that foot. Really bringing that belly button to spine so that core is active. We're gonna kick into that arm for half bow pose. Breathing there. And then on that exhale, open back up to our sunbird. Taking a big inhale, exhale, we'll bring that hand down, replacing that knee to the mat. Set it up for the other side, left toes come behind us. Activating that core, we reach that left leg towards the sky. Staying here or reaching that right arm forward towards the front of our mat. Big inhale there, building some strength. Bending that left knee, we reach back with that right hand for that foot. Finding our balance, belly buttons to spine. We kick in to that right hand. Ooh, working to maintain our balance, maintain our breath. And then on that exhale, releasing back to sunbird. Big inhale there, exhale, hands down, meeting in table. On that next inhale, tuck those toes, reach those hips back towards the sky, meeting in our down dog. Headed to a cool down, we're gonna head to our pigeon pose. On that inhale, we're gonna reach that right leg up to the sky, and then exhale, bring that knee behind that wrist, coming down to the mat. Walking those hands back to elongate that spine, and then exhale, forward fold. Hands to the mat, forearms to the mat, or forehead to the mat. Gonna take a few breaths here, getting into that hip. Remembering if this doesn't feel good, you are welcome to do the pigeon option on your back, on your figure 4 stretch. Or if you feel like that hip keeps popping up off of the mat, placing a block underneath that hip can also be helpful. And that next inhale, let's rise, meeting up on our palms. Tucking those left toes, we lift that knee up off the mat and we hinge back, 3-legged dog. Opening up to scorpion dog here. And then we're gonna head to a little bit more core work. So we're gonna cross the body, taking this right knee, and on the exhale, bringing it to that left tricep. And then we're gonna inhale back, scorpion dog. 2 more just like that, exhale, left tricep. Inhale back. Last one. And we inhale back. And then exhale that foot down, meeting in our down dog. Lifting that left leg up to the sky. And then on the exhale, bringing that left knee behind that left wrist, setting up for the pigeon pose on the other side. Bringing that right leg down to the mat. On the inhale, we walk those hands back, elongating the spine, and then exhale, forwarding to our palms, forearms, or forehead to mat. Honoring that every side is different, so it might feel different on this side, or you might not be able to fold as far. Remembering that this front leg is your lever, so the more parallel with the mat that shin is, the deeper the stretch. And working to maintain that breath. On that next inhale, let's slowly rise, meeting up on our palms. We're gonna tuck those right toes, lifting that right knee up off the mat, headed back to our three-legged dog. Bending that knee, we open up to scorpion dog, bringing some life back into that hip, and then headed to our core work. On that exhale, that left knee comes to that right tricep, crossing the body. Inhale back. Exhale, left knee, right tricep. Inhale back. Last one. Inhale back. And then bringing that left foot down to the mat, meeting in your down dog. Last down dog of the class. And then when you're ready, bringing those knees to the mat and finding our way down. Those feet are going to come out in front of us as we head to a forward fold here on our mat. On the inhale, toes are pointed towards our nose, super long spines, finding those sits bones. Inhale those arms up, and then on the exhale, folding forward to your own degree. Hands can reach for the feet, the ankles, the calves, whatever feels good. Working to get deeper in this stretch. On the inhale, let's all halfway left. And exhale, fold. Working on pulling that torso closer to those legs. On that next inhale, we're going to rise. Feet are going to come into our mat. You might want to inch those bottoms up a little bit. Hands are going to come to the outside of our knee here, and we just kind of want to cat our back for a second. So on the exhale, cat that back, bringing that chin into your chest. And then on that inhale, reaching up, super straight spine. Maintaining that straight spine, we're going to head to bridge pose. So hands can come behind your thigh or even behind you on the mat as we lift those legs into our bridge pose. Full expression by bringing those arms out, and you can even straighten those legs if that's in your practice. Holding here. We're going to do 5 like bridge type sit-ups. So on the exhale, you come to low boat, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up. 3 more just like that, exhale down, inhale up, 2 more. And then on this last one, hold that low boat, taking a big inhale. And then on that exhale, releasing all the way down to your mat. As soon as that head hits the mat, pulling those knees into your chest. Rolling left and right here for a moment. And then we're going to let those hands come out to a T. And then on the exhale, let those knees fall over to the right, making sure that that left shoulder stays to the mat. Gaze can be to the left if that feels okay. that next inhale, we're going to come back to center. Exhale, let those legs fall over to the left. On that next inhale, bringing those legs back to center, pulling those knees into your chest, staying here, or you're welcome to open up to a happy baby by bringing those hands to the outer edge of those feet. If your feet are not able to reach today, you can just grab those ankles or shins and work on pulling those knees down towards your mat. And we're also working on pulling that tailbone down towards the mat. Like those feet are stamping the ceiling. And you can sway left and right here if that feels okay on your back. And then on that next inhale, bringing those knees back into the chest. Inhaling the forehead up to meet those knees. Giving yourself one big hug of gratitude that you showed up on your mat today. And then on the exhale, releasing to your final resting pose of Shavasana. Taking a moment here to let everything go. Taking a deep breath, relaxing those shoulders down, releasing the tension in the legs, unclenching the jaw, and releasing the furrow from the brow. Melting into your mat, being so thankful you came to your mat today. Keeping the eyes closed and remaining relaxed. Remembering that you can stay here in Shavasana as long as you would like. Since this is an online class, I'm not going to formally close the class. You guys are welcome to stay in Shavasana for as